Right, you're welcome to this session. We've been having a couple, or rather a number of these sessions over a period of time. The focus is LinkedIn for realtors, how real estate professionals, real estate agents, real estate consultants, whatsoever role you play in the real estate industry or sector, how you can leverage LinkedIn for your good, for your advantage. We've been, having a good number of the sessions, and this is the third session, and the focus for this session is content creation for LinkedIn. So content creation for realtors on LinkedIn. All right. So it's very tailored to you as a real estate professional, how you should create content on the platform called LinkedIn. I'll just go ahead and share my screen very quickly. As you all know, these sessions are always very practical. I go directly to even my own LinkedIn account to share some things. So this is my LinkedIn account. So you can see my profile here. For the first session, we looked at how to set up your profile, how to set up a professional profile on LinkedIn. That was the focus of the first session. We looked very deeply. We talked about each of these points one after the other. We talked about the headline. We talked about the education. We talked about the about. We talked about their experience. We talked about all these sections one after the other when it comes to setting up a professional profile on LinkedIn. That was the focus of the first session. So if you missed that session, try and see how you can get the replay. If it's paid for, try and see how you can pay for it, but get the replay of that first session so that you can set up your professional profile on LinkedIn. That is the first step. Without a professional profile set up, you can't do a lot of things on LinkedIn, because when people come and check you out, they see they are not able to trust you enough to want to have any sort of dealing with you. So setting up that professional profile is a very first step, all right? Really important first step. Now, the second thing we looked at, which was on the second session, we looked at how to build your network on LinkedIn. That's the second step. So now you have a professional profile, but you're not on LinkedIn for yourself. You want to connect with clients, you want to connect with potential investors, you want to connect with people that can buy from you. So the next thing we looked at was how you can set up a professional profile on LinkedIn, or rather how you can build your LinkedIn network, all right? And during that session, we talked about things like a first degree connection, things like a second degree connection. We talked about what networks are, right? Let me go to my networks and just look at this. So these are, my connections, quite a number of them, all right? So this is what you can do when it comes to building your network. I went into details. I talked about the kinds of people you should look out for when it comes to building your network, the people you should connect with. I practically showed you how to connect with these people. Okay, so I was very, very detailed about that session. So in case you missed the second session also, try to get a replay. If it's at a fee, try and get it even at that fee. It's very, very insightful. So I'm assuming that now you have an account that is professionally set up. And apart from that, you also have been able to build some sort of connection or network on LinkedIn. Now that you've done that, it does not end there. When it comes to social media, the lifeblood of social media is content. Without content, there's no difference between you being on social media and you not being there, because nobody knows that you're there. It is your content that announces your presence. It's your content that announces that I am on this platform. So you want to be able to create content that helps you, all right, to get to a point where people can see you, see what you do, see the products and the services that you have to offer, and decide to do business with you. So content is really important. And that's why the focus for today, seeing that you've already created your profile, you've already started building your network, the focus for today is to teach you as a realtor how to create content on LinkedIn. Now, first, why is this important? Why is it important to create content on LinkedIn? The first reason why content creation is important, right, is that it helps you to build your brand and your credibility. The better, or the quality of the content you create helps you to build your brand on LinkedIn, and also not just your brand, but your credibility. It makes people to be predisposed to doing business with you. Why? They're able to trust you to an extent because of your perceived visibility. So content creation is so important. It helps you to build that trust, all right? Helps you to to build that credibility for your brand. Your brand is being built with every content that you put out there, every single content. That's the first reason why it's important. The second reason why it's important is that content creation helps you to engage and to educate your potential clients. So now you have potential clients as part of your network, but it doesn't stop there. You have to engage these people. You have to educate these people. And how do you do that? You do that by the content that you put out there. That's how you go about it. You do it by the content you put out there. Really, really important. So how can you go about this process of content creation? I'll go through step by step. The first thing that is important when you want to start creating content on LinkedIn, the first thing is understanding the LinkedIn audience, understanding the audience on LinkedIn. What kind of people can you find on LinkedIn? The people on LinkedIn are actually people that are professional minded. They are, to a large extent, career driven, but not just career driven. There are also business people there. But whether career or business, they are professional minded. So there's a particular kind of tone. It doesn't mean that all your content has to be extremely professional in quotes, right? But the nature of the platform, to a large extent, defines what kind of content you want to put out there. There's some content that will do very well on Twitter that is very okay, maybe on Instagram, but on LinkedIn, you want to be able to tweak that a bit, right? It doesn't mean that if you post it, anything will happen, right? But it's always good to tailor your content based on the audience. And the LinkedIn audience are, to a large extent, quite professional. So you can try out other types of content, but a good majority, except maybe you're able to hit a spot where you find out that this is the type of content that works for me. When you get that spot, it's fine. You can go outside of the norm. But in terms of averages, right? In terms of averages, a good majority of content on LinkedIn that does well are actually relatively professional in nature. Why? Because of the characteristics of the people that are on LinkedIn. So you want to make sure that your content is talking to your potential buyers, is talking to, even people that are selling, and also potential investors. Really, really, really important. So what types of content can you create on LinkedIn as a realtor? What type of content can you create? The first type of content you can create are articles and posts. And I'll show you how. This is a practical session, remember. So if you notice, right, at the very top of my screen, you see this place that says start a post. So the first type of content you can create are articles and posts. What's a post? Post is just simply it's similar to what you do on maybe Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, right? You just come here, you click on start a post, and you can type a simple post. All right. So real estate is great for your portfolio, for example. This is a simple post, right? This is how a post can be created. You can add an image to your post. You can click on add media here. You can change this to an event beyond just being a post. You can celebrate an occasion. All right, you can share that you're hiring. You can change this to a poll. You can add a document. You can find an expert, right? So these are examples of what you can add to your post, right? The most common addition is an image. That's what a lot of people add, okay? So you can add an image. Really, really important. All right, but this is the simple idea of creating a post. So a post is the first type of content you can create. And what kind of posts can you create? You can create posts that share tips, right? I'll just discard this. You can create posts that share tips about real estate, tips about properties, tips about educative tips for people to learn. That way you're educating and you're engaging people. But apart from posts, you can also create an article. Let me show you the difference between an article and a post. If I click on write article here, it opens up a bigger, an article is like a longer form of post that has the ability to style. For example, you can write an article on a particular property. If, for example, you're selling a property, you can write an article on that property. You can come here and write, for example, let's say you want to talk about the kitchen. There are different parts of the house. You want to start with the kitchen. You can write kitchen here and you can make this bold. Can you see these options at the top? This one says style, so you can change it to a heading. You can make it bold. You can make it italic. You can, add any of these things. You can add an image. An article it has more features and is longer in the length. All right. So, for example, let's say we want to talk about the kitchen. I can write kitchen and put a space. Then I can add a picture of the kitchen. I can click on image and put a simple picture of a kitchen there. I don't have a picture of a kitchen here, but you get the point. So I can add a picture of a kitchen. Then after the picture, I can actually write a list of the features of the kitchen. For example, I can say cabinet, right? Which other feature? Look at this space that says unordered list. So I can highlight this and click on it. So it becomes a list. Cabinet, right? Smoke, I don't know what they call it, maybe a smoke detector, if there's a need for that. There are other things, the features of a kitchen more than I do, right? So there can be inbuilt fridge, for example, right? In case the house is a serviced apartment. So there can be an inbuilt fridge. There can be other features, but you want to be able to make a list of those features after putting a picture, and you can remove this from being bold. Can you see? So this is different between an article and a post. You can make an article because it's longer than a typical post. Really, really important, right? But then beyond an article, another type of content you can create are property listings. So you can create property listings on LinkedIn. You can share it as a post, you can share it as an article, but use high quality images and put out property listings on LinkedIn. That's another type of post you can create or type of content you can create. The third type of content you can create are success stories and testimonials. It's great to be able to share stories about transactions that went well in your business. A lot of people want to see that you are able to deliver before they buy from you. So what do? How can you prove that you can deliver? By sharing stories of people you've delivered for. Don't say I'm a private person. If you're a private person, people can't know that you do what you can do. That's why people that are not as good as you are more visible and they're getting more clients. Why? Because you're great at what you do, you're not sharing it sufficiently. So share success stories as much as possible. All right. Share client testimonial. If a client says something good about you, in fact, sometimes you need to ask for your client to say something about you. How was the process? Ask them those questions. How was the process for you? Can I share this? Can I share your feedback? And they say they're okay with it, share client testimonial. Let other people see what other clients are saying. And the fourth type of content you can share is video content. All right, content that is visual in nature. You're creating a video of properties. You can also create videos that share personal insights on the market, on the real estate markets, or updates and things like that. You can share that via video. Really, really important. Okay. But then beyond this, I like being very practical. I'm going to give you some frameworks that you can use. Okay. I'll give you some frameworks you can use to create content that will be very practical for you that you can start using from even this night. Okay. The first framework that I will share with you that you can use to create content consistently on LinkedIn is what is called the AIDA model or the AIDA framework. Now, some of you have heard of this before, but you have to learn how this can work for a realtor when it comes to creating content on LinkedIn. So the AIDA framework, this is how it works. AIDA is AIDA framework. The A in that AIDA stands for attention. That's what A stands for. All right. A stands for attention. That's what A stands for. The I stands for interest. I stands for interest. The D stands for desire, and the A stands for action. So attention, interest, desire, and action. 4 parts of the AIDA framework. How does this AIDA framework work? The first part of the AIDA framework is attention. You want to start out your content with something that grabs your audience's attention. It can be, for example, a unique feature of the property you want to talk about. Maybe something that is not common. Something that is, maybe it has an underground swimming pool, for example, right? You can say, guess what this property has, or this property has an underground swimming pool. Automatically, you've caught attention at that first part. Why? Because you have shared something, okay, that grabs the attention of people. It can be a unique feature, all right? It can be a market insight. Let's say a statistic that is not commonly known. You can make a research and get a particular statistic. Let's say statistic of how many new buildings are built in Lagos every year. If you can get that statistics, you can put it as the beginning of your post or of your content, and it grabs attention. But now that you've grabbed attention, the next thing you need to do very quickly is to build interest, which is the second part of the AIDA framework. You build interest. How do you build interest? You build interest by describing, for example, if you're putting out a property listing, you want to describe the property's amenities. Try and share what the property has. Okay. You can talk about location benefits. or talk about, go a bit deeper into the trends in the market, right? So this is how you build interest. Really important. All right. Interest is the second thing. Now that people are interested, because they've seen, oh, this is what the property has, these are some features, these are some things that this has, they're interested. You then need to take it a step further, all right, and create a desire. And how do you create desire? You create desire by connecting the information you're sharing with the needs of your customer. So what does your customer really need? Your customer may want to get to work faster. So you can say, oh, this property is situated close to the main road or close to a major road, so you can get to work faster. Don't just say it's situated close to a major road, full stop. No, that's not it. You have to tie that thing to something that your reader, not your customer now, your customer can be a reader, but anybody can read from you. Something that your reader finds interesting. You don't create desire without thinking about the interest of the other person. Desire can only be created when what you're sharing matches or intersects with the desire of the person reading from you. So, or the interest of the person reading from you. When what you're sharing intersects with the interest of someone reading from you, then desire has been created. So you create desire by sharing some of those things. How does it help their lifestyle? How does it help their family? How does it help them save money? How does it help them, make money? How does that property or that content you're creating, how does it make their life better? That's how you create that desire. Then the last point of this model is action. Action. Don't assume that people know what to do. They don't. Go ahead and tell them exactly what you want them to do. Tell them to send me a message. Tell them, call this number. Tell them, like this post. Tell them, share this post. Tell them what to do. Tell them to download this, all right? If you have something you want them to download, right? Tell them to contact you. Be clear about how they should even contact you. Don't just say, contact me. Be very clear. Tell people what to do. That's the first framework, the IDA framework, that is really important. And I'll be rounding up soon. But let me just talk very quickly about the second framework. The second framework is called the problem solution benefit framework. The problem solution benefit framework. I'll tell you how this works. The way this works is this. First, you start by stating or outlining a common problem that your reader is maybe facing. So think about it. What are some common problems that your potential client may be facing right now? You have to think. It can be, okay, they are finding it difficult to get a property in a suitable place, in a particular location. That can be their problem. So you can start with, are you finding it difficult to get property in Ikeja, Lagos? Now, once they see that line, if it's their problem, what have you done? You've already grabbed them. That's the problem solution benefit framework. So you're connecting with your audience by leveraging their problem. Right. And I'm trying to see if I can even see a post that tries to mimic that, right? There are always some of these posts here and there that can show me what I am talking about. I'm not seeing one at the moment, right? But most likely somewhere you get to see there are a lot of these posts that starts with trying to look at the problem that the audience has, right? Trying to state that problem at the beginning. Really, really important. You'll be surprised how powerful this framework is. If you can effectively make a list of as many problems as possible, all right, you'll be able to put out posts, okay, that's to a large extent will get the results that you're looking out for. All right. Now, after you've put out the problem, you don't stop there. You then have to move forward to the solution. What solution or which of your services or which of your products? Okay, now can you see, look at this post, for example. Most founders never find true product market fit. That's a problem. And a lot of founders are having this problem. Once a founder sees it, like, this is true. For the last 1 year, I've been trying to get product market fit. No way. And they want to reach further. This is how you can connect to people with their problems. Then after that, you move forward to the solution. All right. So what does, how does your service or your product, if you're selling a property, how does your property address that problem? Or how does your service as a realtor address that problem? How does your service as a real estate consultant address that problem? That's the second point, solution. Now, the last point after solution is benefit. Benefit is, okay, you've talked about the problem, you've talked about how you, you've talked about how your service can help with that problem. The benefit is what the people stand to gain. How does it ease the problem that you stated at first? How does it help them save time? How does it help them provide value for money? That's the benefit. What are they getting from the solution to the problem you've created or that you've stated? So they have this problem, you have this solution, but this is what the solution, this is how the solution helps them. So problem, solution, and benefits. How the solution you just stated, how does this property you just said is a solution to that problem? How does that property really help them, help improve their life or improve the conditions that were present in their problem states? This is a framework of content that you can use. This is a framework that you can use to actually create content. And the last framework I'll talk about is what I call what is called rather the storytelling framework. This is an important framework for telling stories because storytelling is important in content creation. So the storytelling framework, and this is how it works, right? There are 4 parts of the storytelling framework. The first part is what is called the setup. The setup. That's the first part. The setup is how does the story begin? Everything that happened had a beginning. If you want to tell any story, you can tell a story if you follow these 4 steps. Think about it. This client that you sold property for, how did it begin? How did they contact you? That's the beginning. That's the setup. What was the starting point of the journey? When did they realize that they needed a property? When did you, if you want to tell your own story, when did you think that you will go into real estate? That's the setup. That's your beginning. Then the second part of the storytelling framework is called conflict. So now you've started, but most times it doesn't just go smoothly. That's why you watch movies. If movies just went smoothly, it will end in 5-10 minutes. But something will go wrong at the middle, and then you'll be expecting that, oh, this thing will be fixed, and you just keep waiting and waiting until that happens, right? So there has to be a conflict. Think about it. Was there any challenge you faced? Was there a conflict? Was there a difficulty? That's what conflict means. Was there something that did not go well in the process? You can share that conflict, but that's just the second stage. The third part of the storytelling framework is resolution. So yes, I know that you had a conflict, but how did you resolve it? Yes, there's a conflict, true, but how did you resolve the conflict? How did you create a solution? Or how did your service, your expertise, how did your property, how did it create a solution to that? How was it resolved? And then the last part of the storytelling framework is your outcome. So your setup, your conflict, your resolution, and the outcome. The outcome is what's the last point? What's the ending point? All right, what's the happy ever after of that entire process? This is how you implement the storytelling framework. All right. Now, we'll be ending at this particular point, but in the next session, we'll have part 2 of content creation for realtors. I'll talk about a couple of other frameworks in that session. Then I'll go a bit deeper and talk about content calendars for realtors. Okay, how you can create a content calendar for LinkedIn, as a real estate professional. Okay, so thank you so much for being a part of the session tonight. This session is powered by iStone Development company, amazing real estate company, I think based in Lagos, Nigeria. You should definitely check them out. We'll get to speak again at the next session. Make sure you're a part of the community. You got this link from, so you can have access to the next one. All right. So let me just